Hello and welcome. My name is Scott Larsen. I'm a chiropractor at the Institute for Health and Healing. Today I wanted to talk about New Year's resolutions as they pertain to exercise routines and exercise goals, in the sense that a lot of people come up with strict exercise goals for the new year that potentially result in injury that inhibits progress and being consistent with an exercise program to overall health goals and improving your health. So this happens every year. I see it in my practice. The first few months of the year are riddled with injuries that occur after a new exercise routine is undertaken. So I wanted to address that topic today. But what's the point? I mean, why do we exercise? There's a lot of benefits, but what's your purpose for exercising? A big reason is weight loss, and weight loss is definitely achievable through a diet and exercise routine. And exercise will help weight loss in the sense that it will put you into a caloric deficit that can accelerate losing weight. But also, people exercise for other reasons: feeling better, having better sleep, improving energy, and just general health. Trying to have an overall healthy lifestyle and avoid a sedentary lifestyle is these are all great reasons to exercise. So you got to look at your reasons to exercise, regardless of what they are. It requires consistency to be effective. So if you get injured in your exercise routine, it's going to be hard to be consistent and have the benefits of exercise come to fruition. So let's talk about coming up with an exercise program. Make sure it's holistic. You want it to include cardiovascular exercise, strength training, muscular endurance, flexibility. These are all important things to consider when coming up with an exercise program. And then you want a plan. Ideally, I like to have people working from a personalized exercise plan on a weekly basis. So in a given week, you have mapped out the days of the week you're going to be exercising, what types of exercise you'll be doing, the intensity, the repetitions, how long you'll be doing your cardiovascular exercise, what types of stretches you'll be doing. And it's all planned out so you can follow that like a prescription. That gives people a good chance to be successful with their exercise program. Also, if you're following it, you're going to potentially avoid overdoing it, overtraining, exercising without any thought of what the overall plan is. And so having a plan will improve your chances of being successful and avoiding injury. There are risks associated with physical activity and exercise, obviously. The complications of exercise kind of fall into two categories. The main category is musculoskeletal disorders or musculoskeletal injuries. That's, sprains, strains, and potentially more to the body. And then you have cardiovascular issues that can occur with exercise. Undertaking a new exercise program can lead to issues with acute myocardial infarction, and as well as some other issues with the heart. So those are important to understand, and if you have health challenges, make sure you have a team of people you're working with that know what your plans are, and you can get cleared for exercise pretty easily. And don't do it alone. So, exercise-related musculoskeletal injuries, huge topic. We're not going to be able to cover the whole thing today. I want you to understand, though, that there is a spectrum of risk. So, at the low end of the spectrum, if you're brand new to exercise or you're just trying to get your exercise routine started, start at the low end. Walking and light, moderate cardio is going to be the lowest risk for musculoskeletal injuries. As you increase your intensity on the cardiovascular exercise scale, your risk for injury goes up. So the harder you run, the longer you run, those jogging, those stairs, the intervals, as the intensity increases, your risk for injury goes up, and that seems probably pretty common sense when you think about it, but sometimes you just don't think about it. You just kind of go for it. without a second thought. And I'm here to tell you that it's important to think about at least. So the more intense your exercise is, the higher your chance of getting injured. So start small. If you're wanting to do cardiovascular exercise, I would suggest potentially looking at a 30-minute session, 20-minute session, comprised of walking and running, the majority of your time spent walking with little short bursts of running or jogging, and then you can increase those jogging intervals to where you're comfortably jogging for the majority of the time. That's a great way to ramp that up, and you may want to ramp that up over the course of like 3 months to give yourself a good shot of not getting injured and being successful. The risk of musculoskeletal injury also increases with your contact to other people, football, wrestling, martial arts, and your contact with the ground. So if you're on the ground doing exercise, your chance of getting an injury increases quite a bit. The most common sites of musculoskeletal injuries in the body are usually the legs. So ankles, knees, feet, and I'll include the low back because I'm a chiropractor, and most of the injuries I see involve some low back aspect to it. Not all of them, but so that's where your common sites of injury are gonna be. So pay close attention to how your feet, your ankles, your knees, your legs, your glutes, your low back feels while you're doing the exercise and while you're recovering from that exercise. So it's tricky. But you got to pay attention and be very mindful of how you feel. Obviously, we want to prevent having injuries, and prevention is a tricky subject to, I would say, confidently say there's one way to prevent an injury. There is not, but you can reduce your chances of injury by doing a few things. One is, it's important to warm up before you do your activity, and your warm-ups need to include moving the body in such a way that mimics the activity you're about to undertake. For example, if you're about to go on a jog, make sure you warm your legs up in a dynamic fashion. If you're about to lift weights, before you lift your heavy weights, try to lift the weights. Lift some light weights. Do a couple warm-up sets with really light weights to see what your body's feeling like that day. It's important to keep in mind that, like I said, you can't control all the risk factors, but in a warm-up, you can get mentally ready. So you'll be able to turn your warm-up into a ritual and mentally prepare for that stress you're about to put on the body. And neurologically, and I would say musculoskeletally, warm up. As you activate your muscle groups that you're about to use, they'll be more apt to take on a stress. So don't have a sudden stress. Don't just go right into your exercise without getting mentally and neurologically prepared. Get blood flowing through the muscles and be mindful while you're doing your warm-ups. If you're curious about what to do, what I would suggest is type in to your search engine dynamic warm-up for, and then blank, whatever the activity you want to do. Swimming, jogging, cycling, walking, running, lifting weights, body weight squats, jumping jacks, etc., etc. Whatever you're going to do, do some research on the internet for a dynamic warm-up for your activity. You're going to find that a lot of the dynamic warm-ups out there look very similar. The dynamic warm-ups to walk or run or jog look very similar to the dynamic warm-ups for riding a bike or cycling. So you can get a few dynamic warm-ups that cover the whole body that are specific for your activity, and then turn it into a ritual that you perform every time. Another part of avoiding injury is resting and adapting. The cycle of getting stronger, getting faster is a stress on the body, that's the exercise, and then you rest and your body adapts while you're resting. If you don't include rest and adaptation, at least factor that into your week or your month, your risk for injury goes up. So you don't get stronger when you exercise, you get stronger when you rest. So you put the stress on the body and you rest, and then you get stronger. That's the cycle. So rest days are super critical. Make sure you include a couple of rest days into the week, not only does it rest your body, but mentally it'll give you some rest. So the muscles can repair, rebuild, get stronger. So it's really important to rest. You might want to focus on sleep. If you're not sleeping well and you're incorporating a new exercise routine, your chance for injury increases because during sleep you release hormones to get stronger. Your body repairs itself when you're asleep, and so if you're not sleeping and you're vigorously exercising, it's a recipe for potentially getting injured. So make sure you're focusing on sleep, or at least trying to address your sleep concerns. Hydration is important. When you sweat out a lot of nutrients, especially minerals. So your sweat's basically soup, and it's not just water. So you need to rehydrate not only with water, but also with good nutrition and with minerals. So that's a deeper topic, but I wanted to touch on it, that make sure you hydrate after you work out properly and focus on your diet and nutrition. I've spoken about this before, but the sports nutrition aspect of exercise applies to the average, exerciser or the recreational exerciser like you and me. So your nutrition on exercise days might not look like your nutrition on regular, like, work days or rest days. You need to eat for your activity. I'm not going to go into that topic right now, but I would encourage you to look up sports nutrition and eating for your exercise and eating for your caloric requirements. Carbohydrates, fats, and protein need to mimic the level of intensity that you're doing. And so there's formulas you can figure that out. But as I like to say, cut the learning curve. Come talk to me, talk to a nutritionist, figure out a good nutrition plan that you can incorporate on exercise days to really refuel and replenish your body with nutrition. It's very important to do to avoid injury. Get a massage. Massage is a great way to mentally and physically rest and repair. It moves the fluid around the body, moves your lymphatic system. A lot of times you can expect some soreness after an exercise day, and some of that soreness is inflammatory chemicals that can be trapped in your tissues. And so a sports massage or just a relaxing massage can help move around those chemicals around the body and help your body recover and repair. So massages are super great. And then, mentally reducing stress by engaging in a meditative or deep breathing practice, a muscle relaxation practice, can help actively, mentally and physically rest. So those would be the rest days. So it's kind of a quick summary on resting and letting your body adapt to the stress of exercise. So in summary, exercise is a critical component to living a healthy life. Why? Well, if you're not exercising on a regular basis, you would be considered sedentary. And if you want to look up the health challenges of living a sedentary lifestyle, there are many. The list is very long and scary. So we want to avoid, if possible, my goal for you is to avoid living a sedentary lifestyle. So you have to exercise to do that. Your exercise needs to be holistic in nature: strength training, flexibility, and your cardio. Those are the basics. You need to have a plan. And then you want to stick to that plan pretty carefully, and then tinker with it as you get stronger and faster and adapt in a positive way to your exercise routine. You want to increase the stress slowly. Then it's important to prevent injury, and one of the good ways to prevent injury is by getting a warm up in dynamically. So before you hit that exercise, whatever you're going to do, make sure you're warmed up, and then don't discount the fact that you have to rest and adapt in order to get stronger and healthier and faster. Sleeping, nutrition, hydration, stretching, breathing practices. There's a lot of ways to incorporate rest and recovery days into your plan. So that's basically my talk for today. Definitely make this personalized for you. I would love to chat with anyone out there who's listening to this talk. contact me through our social media or our the ways to get a hold of me. I work at the Institute for Health and Healing in San Francisco, so I look forward to hearing from you, and good luck. Exercise is awesome. It's the best medicine in the world, but you got to use it wisely and be careful. So take good care, and I'll talk to you soon.